Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I want to go over how to properly build a speed tune arena team so that you guys can farm up your medals, work on your Great Hall and all that. The reason why it's really important to have a properly speed tune team is basically you want your team to function in order of how you have assigned the champion's skills to be basically used. So you don't want any interruption in between your champions by the other team, for example. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys a tool on how you guys can set up your own speed tune arena team. I'm going to show you guys some tips, some pros and cons, and some strategies on how to use this team and on what kind of defense you should be attacking with this team. So let's jump right into it. Okay guys, so I know this isn't going to be brand new groundbreaking stuff for a lot of you like end game players, but for people that are just starting out in this game in the early and mid game, I think this is very important just to refresh some of your mental memory of this. But basically, when you guys are going through the arena, speed is still definitely king. Building a slow go second team, for example, basically a team that gets hit first and gives up the first initiative, first hit, requires some really good champions and some really good gear. So this is a problem for early game or mid game players. So your best case scenario is obviously looking for slower teams or teams that most likely would give up the initiative and let you attack into them first. That's why building a speed team is still probably preferred. It's also faster to farm this way, so you can actually farm your medals much faster. So first thing I want you guys to do, if you guys are interested in learning how to do this, is go to Deadwood Jedi's website. So I have it right here on the screen. So it's deadwoodjedi.com. Great resource. If you guys are building out your clan boss teams, definitely this is the site that's going to help you guys out. He has some really cool tools here that are going to be really useful for you guys. But the one I want to focus on most here is basically go to the calculators, go to the arena calculator. You will need to, I believe, have a membership. So you will need to sign up for this. It's totally fine. It's very simple to sign up. So just sign in, log in, all that stuff. So I'm going to do that here. Now we have access to his site. Now we have access to some of his tools. It's totally free, of course. Go into the arena calculator, and I'm going to show you guys how to basically build a speed tune arena team. So you go down here. You have a couple advanced configurations here. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to touch into this advanced configuration because it's honestly, these are more niche case, very specific situations or conditions. So I'm not going to apply those. I'm just going to show you guys the basics on how to properly build your team and what required speeds you guys need for the team to run basically speed tuned. So for example, let's say you have Arbiter, and Arbiter is very common. So let's say you have Arbiter, you're trying to build a speed tune team with Arbiter. So I'm going to put in here my fastest champion. My fastest champion will be Arbiter. Let's say her speed is 300 speed. Okay, so my Arbiter is 300 speed. Her true speed with her aura is 333. It's important to put the sets here. So if you guys want to put in the sets, let's say she has 3 speed sets. Let's say you're using Lore of Steel. You should be using Lore of Steel for your speed booster to get some additional speed. Her role is going to be turn meter booster. Let's say what skill she's using, Mentor of Heroes. And that's going to be the turn meter boost, increase attack. Okay, and then afterwards, we have a secondary champion. So this is the champion that you want to go immediately after Arbiter. So it's important to have these champions filled in with the proper stats so that you know exactly what speeds are required so that this champion goes immediately after Arbiter, and then the third and fourth champion can follow behind. So for example, let's say I have a secondary speed booster. Let's say I have Seeker, right? Let's say I have Seeker. Seeker is very like basic kind of booster you might have in the early game. So he's going to be another turn meter booster, and then let's say he uses his A2, which is going to be boosting turn meter. So here, this is how it's going to work. Your Arbiter comes in here at 300 speed. And then once she uses her Mentor of Heroes, that's going to be the turn meter boost. And that's going to go right into Seeker, which is the second champion to go on your team. Seeker requires 230 speed as of right now. If there was only 2 champions, we got to make sure we fill the rest of them out, right? So this is roughly, it's not going to be exact, but it's roughly what you need the speed for Seeker so that he can go immediately after Arbiter. So for example, I'm going to fill out the rest of the team here. Let's say I have Tyrell, and Tyrell is going to he's going to be the debuffer. He's going to do the drop defense, and then we're going to have a nuker. Let's say it's KO. Okay, so let's say it's KO. KO's my nuker, and KO's going to use Disintegrate here. So this is a very basic arena team. So in the beginning, we have Arbiter. She's at 300 speed. She's going to be using her turn meter boost. Seeker is going to go immediately after Arbiter, and Seeker needs to be at minimum 230 speed. If Seeker is above 230 speed, he will go immediately after Arbiter. Seeker will use his A2, more turn meter boost. Tyrell needs to be at a minimum of 197 speed so that he can go immediately after Seeker, and then KO needs to be at least 195 speed so that he can also go as well. So if you reach all these speeds based on this calculator, you will have a team that basically will go in order if your Arbiter gets the first chance to go. So there are some conditions here that will interrupt or disrupt the order of things. For example, somebody like Valkyrie. Valkyrie has a passive that will push back turn meter on your champions, for example, if they receive a buff. So there are some conditional champions and abilities that can disrupt some of this speed tuning. However, for the majority of your fights, this will work perfectly fine, and this is considered a speed tune team. So this version of the speed arena team basically uses 2 turn meter boosters, and then it connects into your debuffer and then your damage dealer. However, once your first I guess speed booster or your lead champion starts getting really fast, we start seeing some difficulty connecting that really fast first champion with your second champion at times. So here is another version of this team that kind of doesn't rely on a secondary turn meter booster, and it doesn't rely on having your third or fourth champion be extremely fast in order to line up properly. So I'm going to show you guys another version of this team. So let's say you have Arbiter and she's 360 speed. So now Seeker needs to be 275. You see the problem here, right? Is that your debuffer needs to be 241 and your DPS needs to be 240 speed. That might be a little bit too much speed for you to manage to make this team work. So the way you kind of work around this speed condition is basically the second champion that goes, you want to use like some kind of crowd control or some kind of disabling ability from a champion. So for example, you could use a lockout. So for example, you could use somebody like Warlord. I know Warlord's a very premium champion, but obviously you could use somebody like Warlord. Another budget option would be somebody like Basher. Basher works in the same way as Warlord does. You notice here his speed needs to be 302 speed. However, it's a lot more reasonable because after you reach 302 speed, you lock out the enemy team. Both of these champions don't necessarily need to be that fast. Okay, they could be 200 speed, for example. So it definitely helps alleviate some of the speed pressures from your third and fourth champions if your lead champion's very fast already. Another champion here that works, for example, would be like Prince Kymar, another very premium option. You notice only your first two champions basically need to connect and be tuned to each other. Tyrell, your debuffer, and your damage dealer do not need to be this fast. They could be much slower, but the other team will be disabled by the Kymar sleep, for example, and then will give your slower champions a chance to get a turn in. So another champion that works here would be somebody like Visix, for example. Visix provides the provoke. AoE provoke will basically immobilize and neutralize the other enemy team, and then give your third and fourth champion some time to take their own turns. Okay, so let's jump into some examples in the arena here. I'll show you guys both examples of these teams. Okay, so I put this team together here just to illustrate the double turn meter type of team. Lysandra is an excellent turn meter champion because she gives you basically an insane boost. You see here she has the increased speed, turn meter fill, and decreased turn meter on the enemy. So massive boost for your team. You notice that my Arbiter is 411 speed. Boosts into Lysandra, who needs to be at least 325 speed, and then the third champion only needs to be 210 speed. That's a massive jump into the third and fourth champion. So that makes building a really fast team work with much slower damage dealers, for example, right? So here I have a team set up here with my Arbiter, my Lysandra, and then you have my debuffer with Ramontu, and then just a random DPS. It could be really anybody. So I'm going to show you guys how this works. And yeah, it should be working exactly. So you boost, Lysandra grows right away. Like I said, Valkyrie does impact some of the turn meter calculations. So depending on where her passive effects, you saw some decreased turn meter, for example, when I boosted, you might fall out of tune, for example. But this isn't really a match showcase to showcase Valkyrie. It should still work out here. So you see there was a bunch of decreased turn meter. My Ramontu and my Wukong is actually way faster than necessary. So that's why we're not going to see any issues here in terms of order. So I'm just going to blast her and then it's over. So we'll just do another example, this time without Valkyrie. Okay, so we'll do this team, this time without Valkyrie, just to illustrate how this team actually works. So Arbiter goes first. Lysandra will do her big turn meter push. And then our team will get basically a go unhindered before their team gets a go. Okay? All right, so that's it. I mean, if the team is on full auto, this thing would be a very fast farm. And you can, as long as you go first, you can expect your team to go in this order if the calculator is followed correctly. All right, guys, so this is the other version of the team where you don't run the second turn meter control champion, but instead you run some sort of control champion. So here I'm going to try Warlord, and then we're going to use basically a similar team as last time, but instead of Lysandra, we're going to use Warlord here. So here's the calculator, calculations for the speeds that are required. So my Arbiter goes into my Warlord. My Warlord needs to be at least 352 speed to guarantee that he goes immediately after Arbiter. He is above the speed threshold, so that's good. But you notice that the third and fourth champion also need to be insanely fast if they want to follow Arbiter. So here, because they're not this speed, there is a chance that the enemy team can have a turn to basically do whatever they need to do. However, because they are being controlled by Warlord, they won't do as much significant damage to our team as is possible. You could use, like I said, another champion that actually controls them, like puts them to sleep or provokes them or stuns them, for example, instead of Warlord. But basically, this is the idea. Warlord will basically neutralize them, giving your third and fourth champion mostly free range on what they can do to the other team. So let's see this team in action here. All right, so the Arbiter goes first. and then the Warlord will basically neutralize them. So they all have their either turn meter drops, or their skills are on cooldown. So Ramontu is going to do strips, so disable some of their damage or mitigation and passives. And then we have the bombs laying on here. And then our damage dealer is going to be able to clean up. All right, so as you can clearly see, since we went first and then shut them down, we were basically able to do whatever we want to them. Let's try another fight scenario here. All right, let's try this team. It's a bit tankier. It's definitely going to have a lot more resistance. So we're going to be taking our accuracy aura here just to help us out with some of the accuracy. I don't know if it's going to work out, but let's see this team in action. So for sure, we're going to go first. We're going to shut them down with the lockout, and then it's going to give us time for our third and fourth champions to get a turn. Okay, so we're going to go boost up, shut them down, full stone skin as I've expected. Okay, we don't strip any of it, but let's see if our very high resistance team. So a little bit of an issue here. Yep, very high resistance team. Let's see. Nope, nothing is going through. Might actually lose this one. All right, so one threat is down to Georgian. Okay, shut them down again. Nope. The Warlord's not going to be very good against Mortu here, obviously. Let's see if we can put more bombs. Yep, there we go. We got more bombs out. Can we kill the Mortu? Can we kill the Mortu? Okay, let's see. Can we kill the Mortu? Give him a turn. There we go. Nice. All right. So this team is very high resistance. So obviously we had, some issues with the accuracy check on our Gaius, for example. Even with the accuracy order, it was quite difficult. But basically, this is kind of how it works. This might not have been the best match to showcase the ability of this team, but it just shows you guys what can actually happen when your Arbiter and your Warlord or your Control Champion line up perfectly together. It gives your third and fourth champion a chance to take a turn, basically to do what they need to do, whether it's debuff or do damage, and so forth. So hopefully this fight illustrates that. The weak hits against UDK also is a bit of a problem. Teams like this, speed teams, will run into issues against things like Stone Skin. That's why, for example, like a bomb champion like Gaius might be an option for you as a DPS. Other issues that you might run into is obviously reaction. So reaction are accessories you get from clan versus clan. They have a chance to basically make your crit hits into non-crit hits. They mitigate quite a bit of damage. So those are other issues with going first. However, in lower rank arena as you're climbing, it's definitely worthwhile to probably build a team like this just so you can speed farm some weaker teams. So you get medals faster, you spend less time doing battles. All right, guys, so let's take a look at this team. So it's kind of a similar team to the Warlord to follow the Arbiter, but instead of Warlord to control the other team, we're going to use Lady Mikage to stun the other team, which is obviously another form of control. And then we're going to go into, instead of Ramontu for a strip, we're just going to go into a defense up to buff up our defense-based damage dealer. So you can obviously use a defense down champion like Madame Cirrus or, for example, War Maiden or whatever to increase the effectiveness of your damage dealer. In this case, Harima is not the best damage dealer to work with Arbiter, but because Arbiter is, for example, one of the, let's say Arbiter is the only speed booster and is the best speed booster we have, and Harima is the best damage dealer on our account. We enhance her by using a defense up champion. Also, Mithril has other uses like cleansing and obviously some control against the other team as well. So there is some benefits there as well. So let's jump into this team. I'm going to show you guys the calculations here. So we don't have Lady Mikage in the calculator, so I'm going to use Visix basically as a control champion. So Arbor is going to boost, go into Visix, and basically Lady Mikage needs to be at least 352 speed. She is, so that means Lady Mikage will get a turn. And then the third and fourth champion, look at this, how fast they need to be. But since the other team will be locked down by the stuns, they don't need to be this fast anymore. So this is how you can get around having a whole team of incredibly fast champions. You run your second fastest champion with some crowd control, basically. So let's jump into this fight and see how it goes. So it's Arbor versus Arbor. So we go first. It works out. So now it's Lady Mikage. So we boosted. We go immediately into Lady Mikage, just like what the calculator said would happen. We're going to transform, use the stun ability. So we're going to try to stun their whole team. It works. So we stun the whole team. And unfortunately, it looks like our Mythrala is a little bit slower than our Harima. So it's not going to work out exactly, but if Mythrala would have been faster than Harima, then Mythrala would have been able to buff up Harima with increased defense for more damage. Let's see if we can just actually win this fight right now. Looks like our Harima needs some work and is not strong enough to one-shot this whole team. But basically, that's how it goes in terms of the turn order of the team that you have set up. Hopefully in this video, I showed you guys the two different ways to basically make a speed tune team. You can speed tune your Arbiter with another turn meter control champion that then connects to your third and fourth champion, or you can have an Arbiter connecting immediately into some kind of crowd control or control champion, and then your third and fourth champion will get a turn. And the second team that I just illustrated basically does not require you to have insanely fast speeds on your third and fourth champion. So yeah, there's just two different ways to build like a speed tune team. In the first team that I illustrated, you use the turn meter, and then you have two other champions that basically connect. So you have 4 connecting champions all going in order. And then the second team that I illustrated, for example, this team, you go Arbor connecting into one champion only, and then as long as the other team is controlled, then your third and fourth champion will go. So hopefully in this video I illustrated this properly. I know it's a little bit elementary for a lot of people, but it's definitely very important for newer players to farm up your great hauls, get those medals every day, do efficient fights, and just have a good experience with the arena, because you're going to be doing it for a long time, and it should be something that you do regularly so you can get your rewards. Especially the great haul bonuses are very important, and it's just a natural way of progressing your account without having to expend too much resources like energy or gems or anything like that. So make sure you guys do your dailies, make sure you guys set up a good farming team, make sure you guys have a speed tune team, and hopefully this video will help you guys out in making a properly speed tune team. Anyways, guys, that's it for me in this video. Appreciate you guys watching, and of course, if you guys like the content, let me know in the comments below. If you guys have other tips with your arena teams, let me know in the comments below. I love to learn and hear from you guys. So thanks for watching all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.